In this video, I'm going to show you the strategies that I use to generate $10,000, even $15,000 a month in my smaller account. I'm going to show you guys the trades that I take and show you how diverse they range between puts and calls and shorting different stocks and how I generate this money. And I also use leap options. So let's dive right in and let me show you guys exactly what's going on and how you can start generating consistent income running the same strategies that I do. So one of the trades that I'm using to consistently make very big returns is Walmart. Walmart has a very big support at 94 and it has a pretty strong support at 95. So I've been consistently selling 10 to 20 put options on Walmart every week or every 2 weeks. And this most recent trade I made on Walmart was for 10 put options at $90, which was $1,000. I'm up 80% in 1 week. Instead of holding for the full 2 weeks, I will close right now. In fact, I'll try to get closed at 8 because it's not worth holding this for a week for $80 when I've only had this contract or these contracts for 6 days. 5 days actually. And so it's not worth holding these contracts for an additional week when I've made 80% of my money in 40% of the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to limit buy to close, try to get filled. Actually, 8's in the middle. I might get 7 as Walmart's going up, but we'll try. We're going to close that right there. And this is generating me about $2,000 a month just in this one trade. I will show you where I recently closed my Tesla trade. I've been selling 10 put options on Starbucks every single week. So you can see I sold these for $64 at $640 going out to next week. I opened them 2 days ago. So it's like a 9-day trade for $640. Sometimes I do 20 put options. If we go over and we look at Starbucks, there is an immense amount of support at 89 and 90. So I've been selling a lot of put options at that range. But if Starbucks was to drop below $89, then the next support would be around 85, which would be about 2 to 3 weeks to roll out. And I'd collect another $200 or $300. So worst case, over the course of a month, instead of making $1,200 to $1,800, I'd end up only making about $900. But this hasn't happened very many times at all because I trade very safely. And when we look at the chart, 85 being the low, this goes all the way back to the beginning of the year. And this is when the crash happened. So in reality, on Starbucks, outside of the crash with a strong economy, the way we have now, Starbucks 87 to 89 is the bottom, which is where I'm selling these put options. I'm going to be looking to close these probably early next week. And then, of course, if Starbucks runs today, I'll close them earlier. It already did that. I'm kind of right at 15%. I was at 30% yesterday. We'll see how that goes. Walmart has dipped a little bit, so I'm going to buy to close these maybe at 8. We'll see if I can get filled at 8 as Walmart has pulled back just a little bit. Not much, few cents, but it's enough to make the option go down. There it goes. It just popped up. We'll probably get filled on that. There we go. It's going up, so we should get filled at 8. If it goes up another 3 or 4 cents, we'll get filled at 8, and this will close that. There it goes. It's diverging right now in 8 cents. Not quite. Walmart has to go up about another 2 cents for this to close me at 8. Then we'll get rid of that. And just to show you guys, for this month, I'm already up $7,000 and we're only halfway to the month. So it'll be a $15,000 month in this account. You can see right here, $7,000 for 2 weeks. I haven't even closed $3,000 on Verizon, and I have another $600 on Nike. That's another $3,600. And then my DJT puts, which I've been running a lot of, another 300. So I'll be over 10 grand by next week. So, you know, we're on par for 12 to 14,000 this month. And I'm not even really overly trading. As you guys can see right here in my cash and my SPACs, I have almost $750,000 in cash, like pushing 720,000 in cash. So I'm only using like 100K to trade. I mean, if I really was to go all in and use a lot more of my money and use, let's just say, half of my account, you know, I can make more money. I'd be playing it safer, less premium, but 4 times the capital. So I could make about 25 grand a month and do it even safer, but I'm using less money, slightly more aggressive. But my slightly more aggressive would still be a lot safer than most out there. Legitimately, I don't trade, but 20 deltas on puts, sometimes 10 or 15, and I trade them where the volatility is just right, so I'm making more premiums. I'm about to show you guys some more trades that I'm making so you guys can see where this is coming from. I'm going to show you my account history. This month, you'll see that Apple puts at 200, made $500. So here's where I made my money. Starbucks, 1,100. McDonald's, 1,100. Another 600 for Starbucks by next week, so that's $1,600. Walmart, I've made 650, about to close out another bunch of puts there. So that's going to make me another $800. So Walmart's actually about 1,700. And then of course, Neo puts, I've made $651 in the last 2 weeks on Neo puts. Starbucks, another 500 there. So actually Starbucks is closer to $2,000. Yeah, because I made $500 on Starbucks right here, plus another 1,000 plus 600. So about 2,200 this month on Starbucks. The Apple puts, I made 529. Coca-Cola, 500. Shopify right here, I made 491, but I made another 297 here on Shopify. I sold short calls on Adobe because I was bearish on Adobe, made $200 there. I also more puts on Apple, DJT 152, plus I've got more DJT puts, so that's about $1,000 in 2 weeks on DJT. More Neo puts to average my cost of Neo down. Now Neo's flying. $73 on a very quick scalp on SPY just because I could. I could have made more money on that, but just because I could. More puts on Neo. So you can see that's $7,000. It would actually, if I wouldn't have got stuck on the Adobe puts that I sold, which I actually bought back and could have held a little longer and you know, lost a little bit less. But this kind of didn't work out here because Adobe dropped abruptly. But still, even with that, I made 7,000 so far. Would be actually closer to 10 grand already in a half a month. So I'm looking probably 15,000 this month. It's going to depend on things go right now. But typically I trade Starbucks, Walmart, Apple, Tesla. This is how I'm generating weekly income. Verizon on occasion, DJT on occasion, and Neo on occasion. So pretty much my big trades are Walmart, Shopify, Starbucks, Apple, Tesla, and on occasion Neo, DJT, Verizon, just depending on the market. But I adjust accordingly, and I will short stocks like Ford, DJT. I'll short Ford down to 11, then I'll sell $10.50 puts. So we can see here that with Ford, I'm shorting it right now. Sold it at 11.24. When it gets closer to 11, I'll buy it back. Then I'll sell 10.50 puts. So I'm shorting it down, buying it back up. I think Ford's strong, but with the recalls, it's a pretty easy trade. And JetBlue, I'm shorting that because I don't think JetBlue is going to be anywhere near as strong as American Airlines. So I'm going long on American Airlines, short on JetBlue. And this pretty much is just part of the strategies that I'm using to make money. We're going to dive into some more right now. But if this is confusing you, and maybe you're new to the market, you don't know where to begin, maybe you're looking to retire, this can be very confusing. But if you want to make the profits you're seeing on the screen that my students are making and the profits that I'm making, then I would love to help you. Don't hesitate. Take action now. Let me show you how to turn those losses into wins and unveil the truth to the market and show you how I'm able to do this consistently every single week, every single month. It's how I turned this account from 400,000, 800,000, or 836,000 in 5.5 months. If you want to learn how to do this, the link to join the Discord is below. But don't take my word for it. Let's take a listen to what my student Josh and Adam had to say. What stood out to you the most when you originally signed up for the Discord and the coaching really gave you the incentive to want to join? And do you still feel the same way now? And what would your message be to others that are, you know, in the same situation?
You were more focused on like the actual strategy of things as opposed to, you know, pushing a particular stock or trying to like almost trick people into like how they can get rich. I'm also a masterclass student as well. And that's where I really took things to the next level. For anyone who's thinking about joining, is anyone can do this. It's just really like putting in the work and the effort to meet Corey halfway, but he will definitely get you there. I started with about $300,000 portfolio. Initially saw about between 60 and 70,000 within my first 6 weeks, which I was very excited about. So now I'm really excited to share that I've grown that $300,000 portfolio to well over 500,000. I'm definitely definitely reaping the rewards now. Don't wait. I honestly like can't thank Corey enough.
What would you tell someone who's skeptical about me and learning options, or just from learning from someone online who is on the fence and needs motivation to get started? Like they're watching the YouTube videos, but they don't know, can I trust this guy? Can I trust the options? Or even if they trust me, can they trust what I'm teaching? Will they be able to learn? What would you tell them to motivate that?
In just a short amount of time, the program that you offer, I've learned so much, and I've changed my entire approach to investing. I'm much more structured, much more safe, and I've seen consistent, profitable growth. I've seen the growth, and it's almost like unbelievable. Like in a market that we're in now, I was still able to consistently grow because you're so methodical and structured, and you care about each student. I'm here to say it how it is, right? I've made consistent growth. So I started with 15,000, right? I am now at $40,000. Okay, and I'm so proud. It feels amazing to be able to share this, because I know that there's so many people that will do the same, right? You have to just trust Corey and trust what he's teaching and what he's offering, because he means so well.
So you heard my students, Josh and Adam, had to say, if you want this to be your success story, use the link in the information box below in order to get started with Discord. Don't hesitate. Don't waste any time. Act now. Let me show you what's going on in the market, and let me help you grow your portfolio. Like I've said many times, my parents raised me Catholic to do the right thing. I'm not perfect. Nobody is. But my dad helps homeless veterans, and I really want to help people achieve financial freedom. It's what we do. I really try to help people the best that I can, and I want to help you grow your portfolio, just like my students and the profits that you're seeing on the screen right now. I would love to help you. Link is in the information box below. So I've showed you the strategies that I've run on Starbucks. I'm about to exit Starbucks. I already exited Walmart a few moments ago while recording this. And we're going to look at my account now, and I'm looking to get out of Starbucks. I'm at 54%. These contracts I sold at $64. They're worth $25 right now. The stock goes up another $1. I'll be able to get out around 70% by tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to get filled at 20 yet. It looks like that's possible and is likely to happen, but we're waiting for a little bit more of a price move on that. So there's also other ways I make money, and I want to show you. I made money on AMD. I called this when it was 110, 105. Then the market crashed, which was not AMD's fault. I did call AMD. Now the market did crash, but I called it at 110 and 105 before the market crash. I told everyone 150 by end of summer. It's over 160. I even put out a trade in my Discord for $125 call options to expire July 18th, which is tomorrow. And students that I posted screenshots on my YouTube channel, and there's a screenshot right there of the trade in Discord where a student made over 1,200%, turned $300 into almost $4,000 in 3 months. This is what goes on in the Discord. This is what I teach my students. Now, I'm also explaining to you that I took this trade as well, but I also took Microsoft trades. Now, I want to show you guys, you always want to get into stocks when they're near the bottom. So if we look at AMD, I told everyone to get in February, and we go back to February, it was over here. So I was telling my students to get in roughly in between this range right here. Nobody could have forecasted the tariff talk right here. But if we take out the tariffs that crashed the market, that would have been right here. Yeah, that would have been this area right here, which means the bottom for AMD would have been 98. And I was telling everybody to get in between basically 98 and 110. This $10 range is where I was telling everyone to buy leap options and buy shares. And so look what's happened. The stock has moved all the way up, even from my price range of 105, 110. Look at that move. This is over $45 of move from when I called it. $40 to $45. That's 50% in 3 months. That's 3 to 4x the regular stock market return of the S&P 500. So we took that trade. Another strategy that we used was on Microsoft. I got into a pretty big position on Microsoft back in March right here, and I called it when it was 382. Then the market crash happens with the tariffs. But if that wouldn't have happened, you can see right here, the bottom would have been around 380-ish. So right where we were at here, 380, that's where it would have stayed. Long story short, it ran all the way up to 512. I told you guys, and I told Discord, this stock would run to 500 by the end of the year, and it surpassed that easily. And if I show you guys my trade on that, so here we go. I made $19,000 on these leap options, $2,800 on the shares, and some puts that I sold and some calls that I sold. So at the beginning of this year, by the time I cashed out 3 months in, right here, you can add this up. This is 19.4. This is 22.4. I made about $26,000 on Microsoft, give or take, $27,000. So you saw I made $26,000 on Microsoft. So you can see this month from July 1st to July 17th, 2 weeks in, getting ready to go to the third week now, I have made $7,200. So here we are, July, just this month, we're halfway through, $7,200 on point for another $15,000 gains in this account. And I'm going to go to my whiteboard to show you exactly what I've done to structure my trades. So first, we have every 2 weeks, I sell 10 put options. So every 2 weeks, I sell put options on Starbucks. So what we're going to do is we're going to put Starbucks and we're going to do put options. The strike price typically varies because I sell 20 deltas or 25 deltas, and I always go 2 weeks out, and I look for support on the stock. So that changes a little bit, but right now the support is between 89 and 90. Last week and week before was 91 and 92. So I adjust according to the stock every 2 weeks, and I pretty much trail its bottom dollar, and I do this by adjusting. So every 2 weeks, I average between $80 and $90, and sometimes $100 per put option. So I'm averaging at 10 options, 10 puts times 90 equals 900. On Walmart, it's the same thing, but typically this is between $93 and $94 per week. I'm right below the support. I sell 10 puts there, and I'm averaging between $80 to $90 over there. Sometimes a little less, a little more, but it really is averaging about 90-ish. So again, this is very close to being the same. It's another 900. It could give or take a little bit depending on what's going on with the stock. And then I'm also selling put options on DJT. Sometimes I switch this out for other stocks, but the last couple of weeks it's been DJT, and I sold 10 of those, and those were about $47 each. So that's $470. Okay. And on top of that, I'm also selling a couple of Apple puts, which expired last weekend or last Friday, and I didn't sell any more this week, but I sold 10 of those puts, and they were at $200 strike. They were around $37 each. So that's 37, and that's another $370. Most recently, I did sell some puts on NEO, where I sold 40 puts, and these are worth $16. I've done this multiple times for the past 2 months. So this right here is another $640 every 2 weeks. And then American Airlines, I have sold 50 put options on American Airlines, and I've done this at an average of around a 20 delta, which gets me about $10 every 2 weeks. So this is another $400 every 2 weeks, roughly, but it really depends. 50 put options times 10 is really about $500. So I'm averaging 10 to 11. So I'm just going on the bottom end here. We'll say $500. Okay. And this is for the put options, and this is every 2 weeks. I'll substitute American Airlines, NEO, and Donald J. Trump stock for different stocks sometimes. Most of the time, Starbucks, Walmart, and Apple are almost always there. Oh, and we don't want to forget Tesla. And on Tesla, I'm selling like 15 to 20 delta at the max, usually a little bit lower. I'll sell 2 puts here, and I'll collect roughly $250 each. $25, and I'll collect $250 for this. So that's $500, and I'll do this per week. So we're going to do times 2 on all of these and times 4 right here for our total on the put options. So what I'm doing is I'm making 900 plus 900 plus 470 plus 370 plus 640 plus 500 times 2. This is 7560 plus 500 times 4. So right now we're at 9560. It's pretty much maybe 2,000, actually a little bit less, like 1,800 more than I've already made. I'm only halfway to the month, and I'm only 1,800 less than that number because I've been selling a little bit of extra options here and there. I also sold call options on Adobe. So what I did here is we'll erase this now. You guys have seen this, 9560. I'll leave that number in the bottom. So puts equals 9,560. And then now we're going to erase this, and we're going to talk about the calls. Another thing I want to talk about is not only did I sell call options on Adobe, 10 of those at a premium of like 140. So that's $1,000, which we can add here. Calls. I sold call options on Adobe for just put $1,100, even though I made a little bit more. We'll leave it there. And I also forgot I sold put options in McDonald's and Shopify. We have to include that as well. I don't know why I forgot, but right here, McDonald's, $1,000. And then when we come down to Shopify, I sold 111 puts for another $500. And I've done this numerous weeks in a row. So we have to add that as well. So McDonald's, I think I sold 5 puts on McDonald's, if I'm not mistaken. 10 puts. 10 puts on McDonald's for $100 each, almost like $90. So $900. We'll just double check this. Yep, 100 at 91 is what I actually got billed at. And I got filled 5 contracts at 100, so another 500 on Shopify every single 2 weeks. So we have to add those. So McDonald's, 292.50 puts, which I've been selling a lot of. And this is 10 times $91, 910 times 2, because this is every 2 weeks. And then I also sold Shopify, and I sold those puts at 112 and 111, but I do them every 2 weeks. So I'm doing those at 5 times 100 every 2 weeks, which is $500. And I sold Shopify puts, which I'm selling 5 times 100, depending on the strike price. And I'm doing this every week, so it's $500 per week, so times 4. And then I'm selling Coca-Cola every 2 weeks as well, just not this past week because of earnings, but I sell 10 of those and I average about 35 every 2 weeks. So 350 times 2. This is pretty much what it looks like for me. Let's add this up. 9560, we've got that number already. 700 because we're doubling this up. Then this is 2000 right here. And then plus 910 times 2 is 4520. So 4520. All right. And then we're going to add that to the 9560. So 14,080. There you go. There's your number. That's about what I average. And right now, if we were to minus the money that I've already made this month, 7220, I'm 6,800 away, which is right in the middle of the month, smack dab in the middle. So this is pretty much how I do things. I trade McDonald's, Shopify, Coke. I'm going to give you a list of the stocks I normally trade all the time. So I do Starbucks, Coke, Shopify, Walmart, and I do McDonald's on occasion, DJT on occasion. And I'm also doing a few other stocks, which I didn't mention in here, but these are the ones I'm doing the most of: Starbucks, Coca-Cola, Shopify, Walmart, McDonald's on occasion, Donald J. Trump on occasion, American Airlines, Apple, Tesla. These are the stocks that I'm selling put options on all the time. And like I said, sometimes I change it up. But this is how you can generate $14K a month. You could play it a little bit safer, less contracts, and make about $10K a month. And you don't need a massive account to do it, because if you look at my account, my cash is $718,000. So I'm only utilizing $140,000 worth of capital to do this. So you can make this kind of money. I do it all the time. If you're having trouble, you're confused, you don't understand how to do this, maybe you're new, I would love to help you. You can see the profits on the screen, including the 1,200% that my recent student has done on AMD. Many students have made very large amounts in AMD, as well as my McDonald's trade, my Adobe trades when we shorted it and sold covered calls. And not only that, Microsoft, where I made over $26,000 in 2 months on one very small trade. I only had 15,000 in the trade and I profited 26,000. It's almost a 3x return in 3 months. 300%, 100% per month. That's insane. You guys want to make these profits and you want to learn more of my strategies, my double fib, my AVP, my divergent RSI, and all the things that I teach. The link to join Discord and get started is below. Don't hesitate. What you put off today for tomorrow, someone else put off yesterday for today. Never take advantage of time. I want to help you guys right now. Let's get started. Let me show you what's going on in the stock market and how to turn your losses into wins. I'll see you on the next video, fam. Take care of yourselves.